Welcome, everyone. We're focusing today on something critical for all of us in higher education marketing navigating 2025. It feels like staying relevant is more challenging than ever.
It really is. It's not just about keeping pace anymore, is it? It's about getting ahead.
Exactly. So our goal today is to pull out the key insights, the actionable strategies you can actually use based on some recent expert analysis.
Right. We've looked at quite a bit, social media playbooks, strategic analyses on enrollment, website guidance, even creative advertising ideas, and industry roundups.
So a real mix.
Yeah, the idea is to synthesize it all, make it digestible, and highlight what really matters for marketers like you right now.
Okay, great. Let's start with, well, the big one. Social media. It feels like the ground rules change almost daily when it comes to student recruitment.
Oh, absolutely. And the biggest thing is how prospective students, especially Gen Z, are using these platforms now.
It's different, isn't it?
Completely. Think about TikTok, Instagram. They aren't just for, watching funny videos anymore. They're functioning like search engines.
Search engines, really?
Yes. For quick info, for exploring options, getting a feel for a place. It means fundamentally, having a solid social media presence isn't optional, it's baseline.
So just being there isn't enough. We need actual strategies for each platform.
Precisely. You can't just copy-paste. Instagram, for example, is all about the visuals, right? Storytelling through images, promoting events with reels, showing the real student experience.
Okay.
Then TikTok. That's your spot for short, snappy, maybe fun, informative content. Great for just getting your name out there with younger crowds.
Is YouTube still relevant?
Definitely. But more for longer stuff. Think student testimonials, virtual tours. John Cabot University does some really effective virtual tours, actually.
Right.
Educational content, too.
Right.
And don't forget Facebook, still important for connecting with parents, alumni, the local community. And LinkedIn, that's key for professional cred, academic reputation, and reaching parents or maybe graduate prospects. University of Connecticut uses it well for highlighting alumni achievements.
It really feels like short-form video is dominating the conversation lately. TikTok Reels. What's the magic there?
Well, it's how those algorithms work, isn't it? They're incredibly good at serving up relevant, entertaining stuff really quickly. It feels less curated, more like discovery.
Which fits how students explore colleges initially.
Exactly. They're exploring, so the content needs to reflect that. Less polish, maybe. More raw, authentic glimpses. Think quick, under-a-minute vlogs from students, a professor explaining something cool.
Stuff that stops the scroll.
That freezes the thumb, yeah. That immediate connection.
And that ties into user-generated content, or UGC, which the research really highlights.
Oh, massively. UGC has this authenticity advantage. Content from your actual students, faculty, alumni.
Yeah.
It just builds trust in a way polished marketing can't.
People trust people.
Right. The stats bear it out. Something like 84% of consumers trust UGC over ads. So you need ways to encourage it.
Like what? How do you get that content?
Yeah. Find your existing fans, your student ambassadors. Create ways for people to participate. Maybe a simple hashtag campaign, like, hashtag my first day at your school or something.
Okay.
Make sure you feature diverse voices, give some gentle guidance, maybe themes, but don't stifle them, and always, always amplify the creators. Harvey Mudd College had a great student feature on TikTok that really nailed this.
So it's about community, letting their voices shine. Now, you mentioned something interesting earlier, social SEO. What exactly is that?
Yeah, it's basically applying SEO thinking, like you do for Google, but inside the social platforms themselves.
So optimizing for searches within TikTok or Instagram.
Exactly. What terms are students actually typing into the search bar on those apps when looking for college info? That's what you optimize for.
How do you do that?
Key things. Optimize your profile descriptions with keywords, keep branding consistent, create content that answers common questions, student-faculty ratio, housing options,
Right.
Use strategic hashtags and keywords in your posts and captions, geotag your posts for local reach, and post consistently so you're always showing up. Randolph-Macon College does a good job with catchy headlines and hashtags for their sports teams, for instance.
So being discoverable within the platform's world. And you stressed platform-specific strategies earlier.
Absolutely critical. You can't treat them the same.
Yeah.
Facebook, think events, targeted ads for specific groups like parents, community group engagement, maybe longer content pieces.
Okay.
Instagram.
Right.
High quality photos are still king. Stories, reels, organizing content into highlights. TikTok needs that authentic feel, jumping on trends, maybe featuring charismatic students or staff using their built-in tools.
Right.
YouTube. Structured playlists work well. Mix long form and shorts. Definitely keyword optimization. Use cards and end screens, maybe live Q&As.
And LinkedIn.
LinkedIn is more professional, obviously. Thought leadership from faculty, alumni success stories showing career paths, research highlights, engaging in industry conversations.
Okay, that's a lot to manage. What about making it more interactive? I saw mentions of gamification.
Yeah, gamification can be a great way to boost engagement, make it fun. Think Instagram story quizzes about campus facts or TikTok challenges encouraging participation.
Like a digital scavenger hunt?
Exactly. Or maybe choose your own adventure style content, exploring campus life, trivia contests, things that get people clicking and interacting.
Beyond the platform tactics, what about bigger cultural trends? Should we be tapping into those?
Definitely. If your institution has history, nostalgia marketing can work wonders, throwback photos, alumni memories, that resonates.
Mm-hmm.
Also, showcasing values and social impact is huge now. Sustainability efforts, community service, students care about that.
And wellness?
Absolutely. Talking openly about mental health resources, sharing students' stories about well-being, it's crucial. The University of Illinois, for example, is quite proactive in messaging their mental health support.
With all this activity, how do we track what's actually working? We need to be data-driven.
Right. Completely. You have to monitor your metrics. What content gets engagement? What drives clicks to your website? What actually leads to, say, an application start?
So tracking all the way through.
Yes, and A/B testing helps. Try different formats, messages, timing. Stay on top of algorithm changes they happen. Focus on quality engagement, not just likes.
And new features.
Jump on them early if they make sense for you. And explore AI tools that can help with analysis or even content ideas, but, keep that human oversight.
Ultimately, this social effort needs to connect back to goals like website traffic and conversions.
Right.
How do we make that link strong?
Okay, key things here. Optimize your profiles with clear, trackable links. Use those link in bio tools effectively.
Got it.
Have strong calls to action in your posts. Learn more, apply now, register here. Use UTM parameters on your links.
UTMs. So you can see exactly where traffic came from in your analytics.
Exactly. Which platform, which campaign, even which specific post drove that visitor conversion. Invaluable data. Then, put some ad budget behind your best performing organic posts to amplify them. And make sure your social strategy and your search strategy are talking to each other, aligned for a smooth user journey.
That's a fantastic breakdown of the social landscape. Let's shift gears now to graduate enrollment. Things seem particularly complex there, especially with policy changes.
They really are. For institutions relying heavily on international students or federal grants, there's definite uncertainty. We're seeing potential impacts from shifting immigration policies, things like travel restrictions, potential changes to H-1B visas or OPT.
Optional practical training, right?
Yes, and even tightening research funding. These create real challenges for graduate programs.
So what's the strategic response? What should leaders be doing?
Well, the analysis points to three main actions. First, scenario planning is crucial.
Thinking through the what-ifs.
Exactly. What if international enrollment drops by X%? How does that affect staffing, research, budgets? You need contingency plans.
Okay, that makes sense. What else?
Second, a deliberate reprioritization of domestic enrollment growth. This isn't just hoping for more domestic students, it's quantifying the lead volume needed and actively building that pipeline.
A proactive shift.
Yes. And third, understanding the cost of not acting. There's data, like from EAB, showing institutions that invested strategically during past downturns actually saw better enrollment than those who pulled back. Inaction has a price.
So be proactive, focus domestically where needed, and don't be afraid to invest strategically even in uncertain times. Got it. Let's move to another cornerstone, the university website. A redesign is a huge undertaking.
Huge. And it's so much more than just making it look prettier. One piece that often gets underestimated is the content management system, the CMS.
The back-end system.
Right. The CMS dictates how the website actually works, how easy it is for your team to manage content long-term. It's fundamental, not just technical detail.
So what are the key decisions around the CMS during a redesign?
4 big ones stand out. First, choosing your design and strategy partner. You have to ensure they understand your CMS or systems like it.
Why is that so critical?
Because their design needs to work with the CMS. Can they support modular content? Create templates your editors can actually use easily. Do they get your content strategy? If not, you end up with a design the CMS can't properly support. Big problems later.
Okay, so partner selection is tied to the tech. What's second?
Defining your design and content strategy with the CMS in mind. Ask, can this CMS actually deliver what we need? Can it handle reusable content blocks? complex permissions for different departments, personalization for different audiences.
So aligning strategy and functionality early.
Crucial. You need to know if it supports structured versus unstructured content well, shared content, maybe multilingual needs, personalization features, your governance model, all before you commit.
Makes sense. What's the third critical decision?
Selecting the right CMS platform. View it as a strategic investment. Does it empower your content creators? Support your goals?
What happens if it's the wrong fit?
Frustrated editors, content bottlenecks, inflexibility, technical debt. It really hampers you. So ask. Is it intuitive for non-tech users? Does it guide contributors? Integrate with other systems? Is it scalable? What's the support like?
And the fourth decision?
Thoughtful implementation. A great CMS set up poorly is still, well, poor. How are content types defined? How are templates built? Permissions set. A smart implementation connects strategy, design, and tech.
Enabling things like content sharing and personalization.
Exactly. Think about editor autonomy, built-in accessibility and SEO tools, maybe AI features, personalization support, multi-site publishing if you need it. The bottom line is bring the CMS into the redesign conversation early. Treat it like a strategic partner.
That's a really important perspective. It's not just plumbing, it's foundational. Okay, shift again, let's talk advertising. The analysis suggests higher ed ads can be a bit generic.
Yeah, that's putting it mildly sometimes. You see a lot of the same formula, right? Logo, ranking, nice campus shot, the .edu link.
The standard playbook.
Right. And in a crowded space, that often just blends in. It doesn't grab attention. The push is for higher ed creative to evolve, to be more like strong consumer brands, attention grabbing, maybe more emotional, and directly relevant to the audience.
So what specifically isn't working with that traditional approach?
Well, the generic feel leads to brand confusion, whose ad was that again? And often the messaging is focused inward on what the institution is proud of, like a ranking.
Instead of what the student actually cares about.
Exactly. Students are worried about careers, paying for college, fitting in. Ads need to speak to those concerns, not just internal priorities.
So what does work then? What makes an ad effective today?
Ads that hit specific motivations or pain points. Using copy that resonates, that feels authentic, making sure the ad feels native to the platform it's on.
Native, meaning it doesn't stick out like a sore thumb as an ad.
Precisely. And aligning the message tightly with the campaign goal. If you're targeting first-gen students, maybe focus on affordability and job outcomes. It's about tailoring.
And tailoring for different audiences too, right? Like adult learners versus high schoolers.
Absolutely. Their needs, questions, and where you reach them are totally different. The creative has to reflect that.
The sources also mention designing for the specific media channel. Can you expand on that?
Yeah, this is critical. A billboard needs bold visuals, minimal text glanceable info.
Okay.
Social media ads like on TikTok or Instagram should feel more organic, maybe story-driven, fitting into the feed. Streaming TV ads, you've got maybe 30 seconds, so they need to be engaging quickly, tell a concise story.
So no more one-size-fits-all creative.
Definitely not. It just doesn't work effectively anymore.
How can we take a hard look at our own ads? What questions should we ask?
Good question. Audit your creative. Ask. If we took the logo off, would anyone know it's us? What's the one main goal of this ad? Does the creative actually support that goal? Is this the right platform for that goal and audience? And the big one, is this message about us, or is it really addressing the audience's needs?
Those are tough but necessary questions. What's the foundation for getting this right?
It always comes back to truly understanding your audience deeply. Surveys, focus groups, digging into your enrollment data to build real personas.
Because relevance is key.
It's everything. Relevant, personalized creative is what cuts through the noise, captures attention, and ultimately drives the results you need.
Okay, we've covered a lot of ground: social, grad enrollment, websites, ads. What are some of the common threads or big takeaways emerging across these different analyses for 2025?
Well, 5 common themes keep popping up. First, know your audience seems obvious, but it's fundamental. Second, use social media smartly, strategically.
Not just posting for posting's sake.
Right. Third, invest in your website strategy and SEO, their core assets. Fourth, personalize your outreach using data. And fifth, teamwork marketing isn't working in a silo anymore.
Those sound like solid, widely accepted principles. Were there any more controversial ideas floating around, things that challenge the status quo?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Some more provocative points emerged. One is that traditional marketing approaches are basically failing higher ed now.
Failing, strong word.
It is. Another is that universities need to think more like businesses in their marketing and operations. Also, the idea that social media should be used more for learning and connection, not just promotion.
Interesting.
2 more. Questioning whether outsourcing your core strategy is always the best move, and a strong argument that SEO should be the absolute top priority, maybe even overpaid advertising in some cases.
Wow, okay. Those definitely challenge conventional thinking.
Yeah.
Can we quickly synthesize some key points from the various sources mentioned in the roundup, like the social media playbook?
Sure. The playbook emphasized careful planning, knowing the audience, again, active listening, and testing content relentlessly.
Graduate enrollment strategies.
Key points there were strengthening employer partnerships, diversifying recruitment beyond traditional pools, using tech to expand access, and, as we discussed, planning strategically against policy shifts.
Website redesign guidance.
That stressed CMS strategy being critical, using audience insights to drive design, and testing early and often.
And SEO, particularly for online program managers or OPMs.
The focus there was on SEO as a primary driver of growth, the importance of strong content and visibility, and using data for optimization.
How about capturing student attention?
That analysis highlighted meeting students where they are social media for communication and learning, but always ethically.
Effective ads.
Understanding the target audience, using emotion and storytelling, strong visuals, concise messages, pretty much what we just discussed.
And insights from partnership campaigns, like with RNL.
Those showed that strong partnerships can boost enrollment and that personalization and data are absolutely key to success there.
Makes sense. What about maximizing overall enrollment potential?
Collaboration across departments, data-driven decisions, leveraging technology effectively, and being open to external partnerships were highlighted.
LinkedIn boosted posts specifically.
Simple takeaways. They increase visibility, allow precise targeting, you need to analyze the results, and they can help build thought leadership.
And the general advice on marketing to today's students.
Fundamentally, update your strategies, focus relentlessly on student needs, and learn from what others are doing successfully.
So looking across all of that, what are the really big overarching themes for higher ed marketing moving forward?
I think it boils down to a few core ideas. Adaptation is non-negotiable. There needs to be a relentless focus on the student experience and student needs. Data has to drive decisions. And digital channels, especially social and web, are absolutely central, but how we use them is evolving fast.
Which brings us to the need to really modernize our overall marketing approach, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Relying on old methods just won't cut it anymore.
Exactly. Student behavior has changed. AI is transforming the tools we use. Budgets might be tighter. You can't just do what you did 5 years ago.
So what are the key shifts we need to embrace in digital marketing specifically? Let's start with the website.
Okay, the website isn't just a brochure anymore. It has to be a dynamic, user-centric experience. That means tight integration of SEO and geo-targeting from the ground up.
Making it discoverable.
Yes, and using it to amplify your brand message consistently. The content needs to align directly with student needs and digital trends. SEO, user journey optimization, brand amplification, content marketing, they're all interconnected parts of the website strategy now.
And what about paid media? That seems to be changing rapidly too, especially with AI.
Huge shifts there. We're moving away from painstaking manual campaign management towards AI-driven optimization. Think smart bidding strategies, responsive search ads that adapt automatically, using broader match keywords because the AI can handle the targeting nuances better.
Less granular control, more feeding the machine the right signals.
In a way, yes. And campaign consolidation is happening too, with things like Google's Performance Max campaigns that run across multiple channels. The focus shifts to providing strong audience signals and high-quality creative assets rather than micromanaging bids and keywords.
Amidst all this tech and strategy, what about the brand itself? How important is that?
More important than ever. In a crowded market, your brand is your differentiator. There's this perception sometimes that higher ed is kind of stuck in the past.
Right.
So building a strong brand through compelling storytelling, a consistent presence, making that emotional connection is crucial. It's about balancing the promise you make with the proof you deliver. That builds trust and drives enrollment.
How do you balance that brand building, which is often long-term, with performance marketing that needs to drive leads now?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? There's no single right answer. It depends on your institution's specific goals. But some suggest a split, maybe a 20-35% focused on brand building activities and 65-80% on direct performance marketing.
But it requires testing.
Absolutely. You need a testing mentality. Brand marketing is a longer investment, and measuring its direct impact can be trickier, but it lifts everything else. You need both working together.
So the final message really seems to be embrace change, rethink strategies, adapt.
That's it. Don't be afraid to revisit your website strategy, shift your media mix, consolidate campaigns if it makes sense. Maybe consider working with external partners or agencies if you need specialized expertise.
Because standing still isn't an option.
Not anymore. The institutions that will thrive are the ones bold enough to evolve strategically, creatively, and with real purpose.
This has been incredibly insightful. It really highlights how dynamic higher education marketing is right now and the need for a proactive, really student-centered and data-informed approach.
Absolutely. Hopefully, listeners can take some of these ideas and reflect on how they apply to their own unique situations and challenges.
Definitely food for thought. Maybe encourage everyone listening to revisit some of the original sources we touched on or dig deeper into areas like social SEO or CMS strategy if that sparked something.
Yeah, there's always more to learn. The landscape will keep evolving, that's for sure. Continuous learning and adaptation are really the name of the game now to connect effectively.
A great final thought. Thanks so much for sharing all this today.
My pleasure.